Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the newly released Shadow Haunter in the Halloween Cup, which of course is going to be an interesting one here. Most likely the squishiest Pokemon around, being a Shadow, being so squishy in general already as a non-Shadow, going to be very interesting as you're going to do so much damage with this Pokemon, starting off with a great matchup here. I accidentally used my wrong Azumarill, so you are most likely seeing here on the side already some weird IV spread. I have like 4 or 5 different ones built and I guess I picked the wrong one. That's kinda nice by me. But first game is looking already kinda great as we were able to wall the opponent's lead as well as he says up here of the Jellicent, but of course we want to see the Haunter, right? And honestly, Haunter is an interesting case. You're going to talk a little bit more about it later on as well. But here we're going to be able to still go for a foul play against the opponent's Gastrodon. I went outside and grinded them for like nearly 2 hours actually. I got around 4 of the Shadow Ghastly, which is kind of nice. I only got 3 of the new ones in general, which is kind of sad. I didn't really get any shield on or whatever, so I have to definitely go outside again later on, most likely to try to get more content. Of course, here we're going to take a look at Haunter now. Haunter will be able to go for an Ice Punch against the opponent's Palossand, which is going to go down here, and Haunter is also still able to get to another Ice Punch, just barely. You see how much damage the opponent does there with the Dragon Tail, but the Ice Punch is all it takes. Moving on to the next game, let's take a look what they are going to run. Azumarill against Carping. That's a great one for us as we're going to run the Hydro Pump on our Pokemon, but we're going to get again here Jellicent as a Sace-Up. This time around with Bubble. They decided to go into my Haunter. This was more of an accident than like on purpose, but I will be able to still maybe even go for an Ice Punch, but no, I decided to go for the Shadow Ball and play it safe. I'm fairly certain I wouldn't have got to the, like I would have not been able to knock out the opponent with the Ice Punch, but I'm still going to be able to reach another Shadow Ball against the opponent here, which is going to get the shield from the opponent anyway, so we're going to be in a very neutral scenario here. I can get a ton of energy against the opponent, and them shielding the Shadow Ball was actually not really the smartest idea, because we are running the Hydro Pump plus Play Rough. Hydro Pump is literally just for this Pokemon here, as well as Wormadam, which you're going to see later on as well. We're actually starting off here with the second set that I played because it went a little bit better than the first set, so you're gonna still see the first set later on, but here we're going to be able to still have the Golbat in the back, a purified version of it, so it's not gonna do too much damage against me either. I can swap out now, and 1 return of Sableye should be enough. So this is already looking fairly decent for me here as the Poison Fang is coming through. I would have easily survived a Shadow Ball anyway, so it was not really the biggest prediction there to no shield. But as you can see here, the return is all it takes to knock them out. Next one coming up, we're going to have the Umbreon in the lead. Again, a great lead for us. It's going to be amazing for us. We can now swap out into a Haunter, and we see already one of the issues with Haunter. And this is basically where squishiness is kind of getting out of hand. You see already the damage output from Azumarill with a bubble against me. And yes, Azumarill can bubble me down in the 2-shield scenario if I just go straight for the Shadow Ball. We have some lag here, which does not really matter because we would have knocked them out anyway, I think. But this is really awkward. I'm still going to hope that I can still get to the Ice Punch here to try to basically knock them out with that, because I kind of need to realign as they're going to run the Umbreon in the lead, and I don't want to have the Umbreon against my Sableye, but no, I'm not going to be able to realign, and here you kind of see like some kind of issue with it. Luckily, they're going to run the Marowak in the lead, which is going to be fine for us, where we're actually going to start here with 3 wins as we can knock this one out, and now we're going to have the Umbreon against our Azumarill, which they actually stay in for a little bit, but yeah, it's going to be a game over anyways. I can talk a little bit more about Haunter. I feel like, honestly, I don't think it's the biggest upgrade yet. Like, it depends, of course, on the meta that you're playing in, but every Pokemon that does, like, a little bit damage or whatever, going to be able to win against you in the 2-shield scenario because it can farm you down. And this is maybe even a little bit too squishy for its own good. Like, of course, I always kind of like to see, like, Shadow Claw being buffed by the Shadow bonus here as the opponent forfeits, but it's not really the greatest one either here right now. You're going to see a very bad Pokemon Force in the lead, and we're gonna get kind of hardwall here from the opponent as well, getting the Greninja onto our Sableye now. We're going to have the Charjabug still to deal with in the back. Charjabug is definitely the worst Pokemon to face with this team, but I still kind of have to take some risks here, of course, as I'm going to be able to get a shield advantage, as well as some damage against the opponent's Greninja, putting them into a range where I can even farm them down with my Azumarill. Azumarill is going to be able to basically take the Hydro Cannon here, or we can just go for the full farm down and try to get as much energy as possible as the opponent swaps out, and we're going to encounter a Wormadam. And the first 3 games I played with this team, which you're going to see later on, I got completely destroyed by Wormadam because it always got aligned to my Haunter. You're going to see it later on anyway. Like, all games I played with this team are going to be in this video. I can always only play like 2 sets because I want to showcase more different new Shadow Pokemon as well today. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because there's going to be a lot more content coming towards all the new Shadow Pokemon today. So that's going to be fun. But here we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the Ice Punch against the opponent's Charger Bug, which is going to be fine. We're going to be able to, use a shield against the opponent as well. But our only hope here is basically that the opponent does not go straight for a charge move with the Greninja when they swapped in, but they did, and so I'm sadly going to lose this game. If I just got one more Shadow Claw off, I would have been actually able to win this one here, but sadly I am not able to. Moving on to the next opponent, actually someone that I know, a very good player here, and they're always running some kind of spicier stuff, and we're going to see a Ponyard in the lead immediately. So I expect something weird in the back as well from them. They usually have some kind of fun Pokemon, so let's see what they're going to run. Otherwise, very good player though, like basically doing similar stuff that I always do, just using some complete nonsense but still going positive with it. But here we're going to see the Azumarill coming in. They were able to catch a move, which in the end of the day, don't know if it's really beneficial for us at what we did here, because I think a Shadow Ball would have knocked them out without the play rough damage already. So this would be something that you can definitely improve on. But we can knock them out here, we can realign. The opponent cannot really go into the Ponyard because, yeah, basically Ponyard does no damage with a fast move, it's double resisted. So they're forced to go into their final Pokemon, which is going to be Pokék again. So we're going to have here the Shadow Mawile against us, so we can swap out into our Azumarill, and we're actually kinda algorithm the opponent here right now, which is kinda nice, but it does not mean anything yet, because the Ponyard is way better than you might expect. As you're going to see, the opponent is going to go ahead and go for the Iron Head, which is going to get us low. I can still get to the next move, but they play it great and basically use a charge move here to basically knock me out. And I thought, okay, I should be able to just farm them all the way down here. So I would be able to go for a charge move against the opponent's Mawile as well then, maybe just 2 charge moves and win the game with that. But no, they survive with exactly 1 HP. So basically, I got completely destroyed by the Ponyard now, but I still have the chance, of course, to go for 2 foul plays against the opponent. And can we still reach that? We lose CMP, and I actually didn't know that we lose CMP here. I actually thought that I would win CMP against Mawile, but I'm wrong, and so that's going to be a good game. Moving on to the next one, of course, we're going to encounter the best Pokemon to face for an Azumarill, the Toxapex, literally the hardest answer. And the opponent definitely has some fun playing Go Battle League right now. Having both Carbink as well as the Toxapex in one team is kinda... yeah, it is a thing. It is a thing, definitely. I'm not blaming the opponent, by the way. Like, I'm not saying that this is like... you shouldn't blame people for what they play, but it wouldn't be something that I would at least enjoy playing, to be fair. I'm not really the person that loves to have, like, full bulk, unless it's, like, for memes or, like, for a video idea or whatever, but... yeah, this is of course one of the bulkiest core, if not the bulkiest core in the meta. It's a strong one. Like, if you want to hit Legend, you can use of course every kind of thing for it. But here you're going to see the Wormadam in the back. And that's basically what happened for me the entire first set. We're going to be able to of course go for a Shadow Ball, but I decide to forfeit here afterwards as the opponent decides to shield this one. Wormadam is just a very big issue for the Haunter, of course, having access to the move Confusion, being like one of the only Pokemon actually in the, like in general in Go Battle League, that is running Psychic type damage that is not the Psycho Cut, which does basically no damage anyway. It's kind of wild that we encounter this all the time here, but it's not really ideal for the Haunter, of course, to get farmed down by this. Like, basically 3 Confusions all it takes to knock out a Haunter, no matter which Pokemon is going for it. I think even a Magikarp would be able to knock you out with it, but here I can still go for an Ice Punch against the opponent's LilyNiRiain. Maybe get the shield from the opponent, I will be able to do so. So this matchup is actually not too bad. I'm going to try to shield up the Shadow Ball here because I think they're going to go straight for it. No, they're running a Rock Tomb. And while I just said that the matchup is not too bad now the matchup is really bad. And the opponent gonna go ahead and go for a Shadow Ball now. So great there that I shield up the bait move. And now I can still see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be the Paddle Sand. It's kind of funny that the LilyNiRiain starts with the ground typing and then the ghost typing, while the Paddle Sand is first a ghost type and then a ground type. It literally doesn't make a difference, but it's like kind of funny when you see like on the top where it flips around. I can still go for a charge move here and we still have a chance of maybe winning this game. We can still go ahead and go for the full farm with the Haunter, and even the Paddle Sand has no chance against our Haunter. This was a good game there. Next opponent coming up, we're going to encounter the Grimer in the lead. This is actually not too bad. You see me here not even hesitating swapping out, because if you run Grimer right now in the current meta, they're usually running Mudslap. So I am going to be able to stay in here. I can even go for the Hydro Pump, expecting that the opponent might want a no shield here, thinking it's Nice Beam. And exactly this happens, so we will be able to win the lead, and we're going to get out the Gust Lord. You see some lag there as well, so we're still going to be able to go ahead and go for a return against the opponent to do some decent amount of damage and put them into range where I can farm them down with my Azumarill. So far so good. Looks like a great matchup for me right now, as I will be able to take this Dragon Claw, I can swap back into our Azumarill, and we can go for the full farm down against the opponent's Gust Lord here. So we're gonna get a ton of energy, which might come in clutch later on, as the opponent decides to not even swap out or anything. They're gonna go back into their Scissor. And sadly here I don't have Ice Beam. I wish I had Ice Beam, and then my phone just decides to notify me for an update. Thanks for that. Didn't really matter too much, to be fair, but that was kind of wild. I will be able to just go for another charge move there, but sadly now the opponent got too much energy. I was kind of, honestly, I think I would have played it maybe a little bit differently if I didn't get like a random notification there blocking my entire screen in the middle of the game, but that's going to be it, because Haunter will not survive a Night Slash. Second to last game here, we're going to encounter the Azumarill in the lead against Azumarill, and I win CMP. But at this point, I thought I had a different Azumarill, which had like 0 attack, so yeah, that's why I didn't know that I would win CMP. But I'm going to realize it very soon here, where I was actually kind of curious on why this was the case, but you're going to see it anyway soon. I see here that I win CMP against the opponent, which is kind of nice, honestly, for the lead matchup. But what you're also going to see, if you take a look now at the HP from my opponent, the HP of myself after those play roughs, I'm on their deep red health, and the opponent is not even close to there. Now they are in their basic D, but this kind of showed me, oh, almost I have the wrong Azumarill, but I didn't really think of checking afterwards, so I didn't really realize, like, I didn't really change it later on. But that's kind of funny, to be fair. But we were able to win the lead there, which is kind of nice. We're gonna get out the Toxic Rogue, which is kind of nice. But I still kind of kept my Azumarill around, which maybe I shouldn't have done, because I could have aligned my Haunter against the opponent. But as long as I don't have a Wormadam in the back, actually Haunter should be able to win against everything. Yep, exactly, that's what you expected to see in the back here, right? So yeah, Wormadam is going to be able to completely hardwall me, and there is nothing that I can do about it. I lose with 2 shields, and I'm fairly certain that I would have been able to win this game as well if I played it a little bit better. If I just used some shields, maybe it would have been kind of nice, right? Moving on into the final game of today's video, we're going to have Azumarill against, what would you expect, a Wormadam. We're going to at least have this in the lead matchup, which is kind of nice for me, because I'm going to be able to at least go for the Hydro Pump eventually, which is going to do around like 60% health of the opponent, which can come in clutch later on. We can go ahead and go for that, but because we are running an A-B line here, basically I'm forced to swap out as the opponent swaps into their Tapu Fini. We have some very clunky gameplay here, which was also the case for myself, and you see double speed with double the amount of frames, which is kind of wild. But the opponent uses the shield immediately, as I can still go for another charge move. And here, I'm fairly certain I kind of make a mistake. As you're going to see now anyway, I'm going to let this move go through, which is kind of fine still. Maybe I could have already changed it up a little bit there. But now I decided to go into my own Haunter, and I think this was a mistake. I think I should have went into my Azumarill instead and tried to get as much energy as possible. At this point of time, I basically already know that the opponent going to have their own Azumarill in the back, but they're most likely going to swap back into their Wormadam, and yeah. Maybe I could have went ahead and went for the full farm down actually against Wormadam. I think I could have been able to pull that one off, but I know that the opponent is going to have a charge move start with a Wormadam as well, which is going to be a little bit tricky, as they're running Ice Beam plus Hydro Pump, I guess, because they're just gonna go for the Ice Beam. Allows me to go for another play rough, but they're still forced to go for another charge move in time in order to get me before I can go for another play rough. And let's see if this is going to work out for the opponent. Ice Beam going to knock me out. I still have an Ice Punch stored. The opponent is forced to use a shield here, I feel like, and they are going for it, but now I have to hope that I can somehow still win against the Wormadam, which, spoiler, doesn't work, because I'm going to let this move go through already, and that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, check out the video on the screen, and I see you then. Bye bye.